Welcome to It Happened in Grand Prairie, Texas. If we bring you the history of our wonderful city of Grand Prairie, Texas, and some of the people that have made history, and some of the people that not only are continuing to make history today, but they're doing a real good job, and we are so pleased to have two principals from the Grand Prairie ISD, both with new campuses, and we're so excited. Craig Stevens, welcome to the set, young man.
Thank you.
And Crosswinds, isn't that exciting?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
That's a good name for a high school.
And the students that we're bringing in, it's like a crosswind. They've been from the traditional school, now they're going to a non-traditional school, and the winds of education are still blowing.
They're going to blow. That is wonderful. It reminds me of Lubbock and Abilene, where the wind blows continually.
You bet.
Yes, that's right. And Jean Nunez, wonderful, wonderful principal.
Thank you.
For the Hobbs Williams New Elementary. And isn't that exciting?
It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Now you are more of a seasoned principal, because we're going to get back with you in a few minutes, but with your permission, since Craig is sort of new to our scene, if you would give me permission, I would like to begin his interview first.
Yeah, I want to hear about Mr. Spears.
I think that
That's
you'll
what
take
worries me.
all these notes, and you'll be happy.
That's what worries me about her.
I want to know all about you, Craig.
First of all, Craig, we want to know a little bit more about you personally. Not that we're going to get into the real personal things, but how long have you been associated with education?
This is my 31st year.
31st year.
Matter of fact, I coached at Adams Middle School in '83, '84.
Yes, we had that on your dossier. That is great. So
And
you're familiar with Grand Prairie, Texas?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
But you were under another superintendent at that time, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, see, you get all new experiences just in the change of the scene, don't you?
You bet.
That is great. And tell me something about, do you have a family?
I have 3 daughters.
All right.
One lives in Sherman, one lives in Austin. She's a student there. I have
Yeah.
a senior at Brewer High School this year.
Okay. And Brewer High School is?
Fort Worth White Settlement.
Oh, White Settlement. Oh, that's
And
great.
She'll be graduating at semester, we hope.
Uh-huh.
She's wanting to graduate early and get on with her life.
Yes, that's good.
Where she's going to go to school at just yet, we don't know, and she doesn't know either. But we're heading down that road.
Well, being the principal, I have the previous districts you were in, but how many of these schools have you served as principal?
Okay, this is the 3rd district that I have been in, setting up this type of a school.
Yes. That's
We were at White Settlement, Mesa High School. We were at Olton, Texas, which was Options High School,
Yes.
and then here we are now.
Here we are now. The 3rd time is a charm.
Yes,
isn't it?
ma'am.
It is going to be exciting for Grand Prairie, Texas.
We are excited at the staff that we have put together. They are excited about coming.
Well, I am really in sympathy with you, because there's a building here in Grand Prairie, Texas that was a Food Lion, a food store,
Yes, ma'am.
and they just magically spent big bucks and made it into the RJC Center out here south of town. And you have taken an old Winn-Dixie and you're making it into a majestic learning center. Isn't it wonderful that things can happen so in our day and time?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Especially with the way education is going, it's changing.
All right, now I would like to know how the neighborhood is receiving you. Or have you gotten any welcomes, or is everyone mad because you're bringing kids there?
No,
or
ma'am.
what?
We've received excellent reviews from a lot of folks. I got an email this morning wanting to have a welcome mat for all the staff.
That wasn't from Curves, was it?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Oh, you know, Curves, they have that exercising place. All of the really uptown ladies in that area go up there and exercise and everything, so you'll have a good time going to that.
We will.
That's wonderful. All right, now, we've gotten some of the things, by the way, and you're still living at White Settlement.
Yes, ma'am, we drive back and forth.
But that's not too dangerous these
No, ma'am,
days.
it's not. It's about 40 minutes.
Yes.
It's not a bad trip at all.
Yeah.
Right now, I've been coming down I-20 due to the fact that we're housed out of central office.
Yes.
When school kicks, we'll be out coming down I-30.
If you can get through Arlington, let
Yes,
us
ma'am.
know.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a hazardous happening even for little old ladies like me going down I-30 when all of the work's going on, but we're going to be proud of all of the things that they've done for the Cowboys and for 161 when we get everything fixed, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, how many teachers are you going to have at your school?
We have approximately 20 teachers on staff.
Okay.
All the teachers were recruited by me. I think I got the cream of the crop on
That's
this
good.
deal, and they're fully certified. We're taking care of the core areas and then some of the elective areas. Mr. Adams and Mr. Lowe will be taking care of the business sections. Miss Elsamira, Miss Wickerman will be taking care of the English.
You're not a regular alternative school. You're a learning alternative school.
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of the other kind that we have down at Lamar.
A lot of folks, when they hear alternative type
Yes,
campuses,
they
they think discipline. They think the bad schools.
No, but this is a good
This is not
school.
that. This is a recovery dropout prevention.
Yes.
We will hold our own graduation. We have our own colors, our own mascot. It just a regular high school, just doing it differently. That's it.
And they're going to be so excited to get that done before they're 40 years old, won't they?
I think they will be, especially when you have a young man or a young lady who is 17, 18 years old and they're just a freshman or a sophomore.
Yes.
They can do the math.
Yes.
They may have trouble with other classes, but they can do that math.
Yes.
And they'll know that, hey, if we don't do something different, I'm not going to make it.
Do you have an assistant principal?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Nassif Corey is my assistant principal. Janet Plattner will be my counselor. Miss Lupita Cardenas is our secretary. We just got a brand new nurse that I was introduced to yesterday, and God forbid I don't remember her name, but I do have one.
Good.
So we're fully staffed.
All right. Do you do any busing in and out?
Mr. Armandaris will be driving a bus. He is one of the coaches that was at Grand Prairie. He taught at the 9th grade center with us. He is coming on board to teach IPC. He, being an ex-coach, has his bus driving license, and we have visited with Mr. Gerke, and we think we have this thing covered.
Well, I interviewed the superintendent of the Grand Prairie ISD, and the doctor of the world of the Grand Prairie ISD said that she's proud of that new building. How about you?
Yes, ma'am, I am. I am tickled to death to be back into an area that I am very comfortable with.
Is it going to be nice and clean and neat and pretty and just exactly what you expected, even though it was a food line?
It will be remembered.
Winn-Dixie.
It will be remembered in the beginning as a food line or a Winn-Dixie, but in about a year or two,
they'll never know.
They'll never know the difference.
Oh,
it will go away.
That is so exciting. And how about parents of these students that are coming into you? Are you hustling with the parents, or
Yes,
are they
ma'am.
past that stage?
We visit with the parents. When we bring in a student to come on board with us, we do an interview process.
Oh, you do?
And we have the parent with us. The parent has to buy into what we're doing, and the student has to buy into what we're doing. If we don't get a buy-in from both, it won't work.
I see.
And when the interview is finally said and done, we get that buy-in, things become a lot smoother due to the fact the student asked to be there.
Oh, I see.
He or she did not get sent there.
Yes.
This is a choice school. They choose to come.
Oh, that is wonderful.
So things get smooth when you ask to be there. And kids that are coming in to visit with us, they're still hungry.
Yes.
And when you're hungry, you
They
get
wanna
things
learn.
done. You get things done.
Yes. Now, I'd like to know about all of the things that you have in the building. Do you have a PTA?
We do not have a PTA
You
as
don't
of yet.
intend to have a PTA?
We haven't got there yet.
Okay, all
We're
right.
just trying to get our feet on the ground and start running.
And when are you going to open for sure?
We will be open on the 25th with the students, the first day of school.
Of August?
Yes, ma'am. We'll
of
be there.
2008?
Yes, ma'am. We're going to be on the ground and running.
Isn't that remarkable?
Considering when I looked at that building back in May, it is.
Yes, well, considering the fact that somebody has really put on the speed to get all of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Up and running.
Lincoln Builders and the Stahlback Company have done a great job with us. We've used them before. And when they say that we'll be there, we've been there.
Well, are all of yours academics? Do you have any athletics?
No, ma'am.
Or-
We are a non-UIL
Okay.
type school.
Good.
Not that I don't believe in them, because
Yeah.
I've been a coach and I believe in them.
Yeah.
But
This isn't appropriate.
This is not for them. When you're 17 and 18 and
You're
you're a
ready to
freshman
get
or
out of here.
sophomore, you're ready to get on with life. And they're no longer concerned about who's dating who and who's going to be the next cheerleader. They're not concerned about that. A lot of them are working. They've got baggage on their shoulders that we're trying to ease that burden a little bit. We're flexible enough that they can come to school a half day and they can go to work a half day.
Do you have a list of prospects for the school already?
Yes, ma'am. Got approximately 300.
You already have 300?
Yes, when we add up the number of applications that have gone out, plus the number of phone calls that I'm still answering to this day,
yes,
plus the ones we've already accepted, we're getting close to that 300 mark.
Yeah.
And we figure in about 2 weeks we'll be there again. Plus this Saturday we have our dropout fair, so we anticipate picking up several more students that way.
Tell me the dropout fair.
The dropout fair will be this Saturday at Central Office from 12 until 3. If they have dropped out of school for whatever reason, and they're wanting to get a high school education, they're wanting to come back, they need to be up there at Central Office between 12 and 3 and come visit with us, because we're going to be there with applications. We'll handle interviews, the whole 9 yards.
That is just remarkable. You've taken everything into consideration. You may draw in another 25 or 30 at that time, right?
We're hoping to pull in about 50 is what we're hoping.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't include just dropouts. Those are for those students who have picked up an application and have not come up to visit with us yet. They will handle the interview. Their parents will be there with them. We want the parent and the student to know the story.
Yes.
They're going to take what they need and nothing more.
Subjects that you teach, what?
All the subject areas. We've got all the bases
All of the
covered.
academics?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That sounds like a real rounded thing. Can I let you rest for a moment?
You bet.
Oh, we're going to get nose into Jean Nunez's business, and she's pretty cagey. So if you don't
Yes,
mind.
ma'am. I had to deal with her this time last year.
Oh, you did?
We partnered up when we were at the center doing our little skits, and we learned a lot about each other.
It's a great partnership, by the way, Mr.
It was.
Spears.
That's
It was.
wonderful. Now I didn't know we had that alliance already here, and that's formed. That's great. But since you're a special school, and she is even a more special school because hers is named for a wonderful, wonderful gentleman, Mr. Hobbs Williams, that was the superintendent of schools here, and has such a fine family. His wife was a teacher, and all of the main things. And now, Jean, I think maybe that she may have bargained with someone to be the principal of this school, because she's been a principal in Grand Prairie a long time. Jean Nunez, we're delighted to welcome you.
Thank you.
As a full-fledged principal, not only of the new school, but of the past. Tell us a little bit about the real Jean Nunez, would you?
Jean Nunez is a hometown girl. She grew up here in Grand Prairie, went to schools in Grand Prairie.
What schools in Grand Prairie?
I went to Bowie Elementary,
Yes.
walked across the street. I went to Lee Middle School, and I went to Grand Prairie High.
Yes.
And then I left, of course, to go to college. And
where?
I graduated from UNT. I kind of tested the waters at
Yes,
various
you
places,
have
but I
traveled,
graduated from
yeah.
UNT. Came back, and this is the only place I've ever taught. This is the only school district I applied to when I graduated. So I got a teaching job, and I went back to teach at Lee Middle School with Ray Fuller, who was my principal when I was a child there. And
yes, how wonderful.
some of the teachers were still there that taught me, so I got great tutelage under them because I already knew they were great teachers. And I moved from there to Truman. I taught at Truman Middle School a year, taught at Bylam Elementary. Then I went to Bush to be the assistant, and then I became the principal at Bush.
Now, Bush is what? An elementary?
At elementary school, Barbara Bush Elementary.
Yes.
And then I was at Sam Houston Elementary
How
for
long
2
were you
years.
at Barbara Bush?
I was there as the assistant for 3 years and the principal for 5 years.
You had almost grown to the concrete there.
I just about
Yes.
had. It was very.
Was it very?
It was devastating when I moved. It was just like my life. I thought that Barbara Bush was the only place that was it.
Yes.
And I went to Sam Houston Elementary and was there for 2 years. And that moving was the best thing that could have happened to me. It made me realize there were other ways to do things and other
Yeah.
ways to see things, and there were other kids out there. So it was great for me.
That's
And then
wonderful.
when-
That's a wonderful testimonial.
I gnashed and cried moving, but then I got there and I went, oh, this is great. This is a great opportunity.
Yes.
You know, they hadn't seen I had a former principal say, they've not seen your clothes and they've not heard your jokes, so you can start over.
So it was
So it was great. I loved it. And then the opportunity for this school came available, and I wrestled with whether or not I was going to apply, and I did, and it turned out great.
And tell me about your relationship with Mr. Hobbs Williams. You were kind of glad to get that assignment, weren't you?
I'm very honored to be the principal of that school because he was my high school principal.
Yes.
And not only was he my high school principal, but my senior year in high school, the spring semester, those of us that had been in government, the fall semester needed someplace to go spring semester. Well, in 1973, you did not put males and females in homemaking.
Oh, you didn't?
No, you did not do that. And they didn't have anything else for us.
Yes.
So Mr. Williams said, well, I'll teach aeronautics. So every afternoon we would go to the cafeteria and he would bring out flight plans, and he taught ground school
Yes.
to us. So I do have a special place in my heart for Mr. Williams.
Well, I also took ground school from Mr. Hobbs Williams and passed all of my tests. And then there were two in the company that were going to fly. And the boss, Mr. Jackson, says, one of you can fly. The other one's just going to enjoy your experience with ground school. And so Dan Clemson got to be the pilot. But I am so schooled in ground school, I just loved it, as you did with Mr. Hobbs Williams. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And after that, after your experience with Mr. Hobbs Williams, tell me a little bit more about your new school.
Oh, the school is absolutely gorgeous. It's a state-of-the-art school. It's kind of like what Mr. Spears said. They've come in, and the things that we have on our campuses, it's just phenomenal when you look at where the campus was in May, kind of like Mr. Spears's was a grocery store. Mine was actually concrete at the time, but I look at it now.
But yours was dirt before
that. Oh, it was
that,
dirt.
It
was just, it was nothing when I first saw it, and it is absolutely gorgeous.
Miraculous. It's miraculous.
And state-of-the-art. I mean, there's not a thing that we want for or need. So the teachers, when they walk in, they just go, oh, they're just amazed.
How are you going to tolerate a middle school on the same site?
I like having a middle school on the same site because, well, for one thing, there's a street. There's a public street that divides us, and there's a fence that divides us. But I like that because that's the middle school that my kids are going to feed into.
Go to.
So we can build that relationship before they go off to what they consider, a big school.
Place.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good for both. Middle school is going to be a little bit more tolerant of maybe the little ones in their backyard, and it'll work. It'll work for both of us. I'm excited about it.
What are your colors and then your new name of your mascot?
We are the Wolves, the Hobbs Williams Wolves.
The real North American wolves?
North American wolf. I said I didn't want a scary wolf. I didn't want a cartoon wolf. I want an old wolf, a young wolf. I want just the perfect mix.
You want one for the Hobbs Williams Elementary School.
That's right. When we say that we run in packs and we take care of our young, so that's kind of the way the wolves do. So
and your colors?
Our colors are turquoise and brown and black.
That fits in all the turquoise. We may have to have the wolf with turquoise eyes, and the rest fits a wolf perfectly, right?
Yeah. So we were very excited about it.
How about your teaching staff? Are you happy?
I'm perfectly happy. I'm like Mr. Spears. I get to handpick my teachers.
Oh, you did?
And so I got to handpick what I know are the best of the best from Grand Prairie and from the new teachers that came in. I was like Mr. Spears. I met my new teachers. Well, not met them, but had time on staff on campus with them yesterday. They're just phenomenal, and they're all excited. Everybody's ready to go and get started. But now I have a great staff.
Do you think you're going to have enough room since Dallas built this apartment complex in the city of Dallas that is in the school district of Grand Prairie? Are you getting some unusual students, do you think?
We have. Those apartments don't feed into me. Those apartments actually will feed into Crockett.
Oh,
I will,
mercy.
they come, whatever. But they're at Crockett. But there are 3 streets behind my campus that are, when you drive, it says, Dallas, City of Dallas.
Yes.
But they come to me.
Yes.
But most of them are new homes, and the families are brand new.
Yes.
So, but yeah, it's a strange situation. My librarian owns a house right in the neighborhood, and he is serviced through Dallas, but lives in Grand Prairie.
Lives in Grand Prairie.
It's a weird setup.
Well, how about your neighborhood? Are you real happy with the neighborhood? Are you going to have a PTA? Tell me about.
We already had I already have parents ready to do a PTA. They are
Okay.
coming from, some of them are coming from Crockett, some are from Bottom. They approached me from the very beginning.
Good.
So I do have a PTA. We have an organizational meeting coming up with PTA. The neighborhood has just been wonderful. They come in all the time going, wow, can we walk around? Can we look? You know, and of course we can't let them right now, but everybody's very excited. The neighborhood is very excited about
When
the
is your
school.
magic day of opening?
25th.
25th. You're ready.
We're ready.
Are you going?
We're moving in
are you
right now.
Are you going to have a sort of a ribbon cutting or anything? Or are you just going to start school?
We're going to have a dedication for Mr. Williams
Mr.
for the
Hobbs
school
Williams.
on October the 4th, Saturday, October the 4th at 2 o'clock. That's when we'll have the official dedication.
Okay, that sounds nice.
No, the first couple of weeks of school, we're going to just be prepared for all of the
Yes.
kids that there's still people that don't realize that that's where they go to school, or they've moved in and they're still trying to find their way around. So we know that the first week of school will be busy still registering kids.
Who is your assistant principal?
Anna Anderson is my assistant principal.
Yes.
And she's seasoned too, because she came from another school
Yes.
here in Grand Prairie. So I stole her too. I told you I got to pick, and I got the best. So I stole her too. So
I'm glad
she's
you
very
know
experienced.
friends in high places like Sam Buckmeyer and the superintendent of schools and all of these.
And
people.
HR has been they were very, very good to me.
Were they good
So,
to you? All right. Schools closed for a moment. Let's tell us about your family.
I have 2 children and my husband, and my son is 23 and my daughter is 20.
Well, you would start over and give us the name of your husband and then give us the name of your children.
I guess that is important.
Yes, it is.
My
You'll be in bad trouble.
I'll be in
if
bad
you don't.
trouble.
Yes.
My husband's name is Juan, and my son is David, and my daughter is Joy.
Yes. And where are the boys and girls?
Well, they're still living at home. Yeah, well,
if they act nice.
Yes, if they act nice, and as long as they act nice, go to school or have a job. That's
Yes.
my
That's
priorities.
the rules.
Joy is going to school. She's going to be a cosmetologist, so she's going to school at Ogle. My son, I was just telling Mr. Spears previously, if we had had crosswinds when he was in school, that would have been exactly a place that he would have wanted
would
to
have
go
loved
to.
it.
He would have loved it.
Oh, great.
So I'm very excited about having alternative education here.
Yes. Okay. All right. That's wonderful. And you've lived in Grand Prairie all of your life.
I have
so to
lived in
speak.
Grand Prairie 50 years.
Well, you would not tell us your age, though, because you don't want anyone to.
Well, you just can pretty much figure from there.
Well, we.
Because I was a little child when I came here. So.
Well, I would like for you to brag just a little bit about some of the schools where you have been the principal and assistant principal. Y'all have won many, many awards through beautification and through other arenas. Tell us a little bit about your.
When I was at Bush, we had a very strong environmental and beautification program, and
Yes.
so we won several state and national awards for Keep America and Keep Texas
And
Beautiful.
y'all carted me along with
We did.
those awards.
Yes. Miss Ruthie and I have been on very, very numerous trips
From
going
California,
from California
to Florida to Washington,
Austin,
D.C.
all over.
Oh, yes.
And then when we were at Houston last year,
Yes.
we won Keep Texas Beautiful award as well for the efforts. Our kids do it. Our
Yes.
5th graders do a lot with the recycling.
But it
and
has
so-
to be a stem-winding principal that will tolerate all of that extracurricular activities, because you go over and beyond your school hours to do those kind
Yeah,
of
they
things.
the kids do.
Yes.
My counselor and my math and science person usually take that on, and they will work way past school time, getting those kids to do things. So yeah, we're very excited, and we're ready to move on and do the same thing at Hobbs Williams. We already have our garden plotted. We already have our recycling bins ready. We already have everything ready to go. So yeah, we're ready to move right on with that.
Well, I know of several people in town that will be very happy to hear all of that. When
Yes,
I
I've already
pass the word.
spoken to Miss Hollis, so she's very
Oh.
happy.
Tracy, I started to say Tracy will just really.
Yeah, she's ready.
Yes, that's wonderful. Now, I guess that's about all I need from you right at this moment. I need to get back to Craig a minute, because now that he's heard about all of these things, are you going to have any kind of beautification programs or anything like that?
We
at your place?
anticipate doing some things. Just because students come to a different campus, an alternative campus, life does not end.
It does not
Life
end.
continues to go, and that's what we're all about. We're going to be doing some service learning involved, and they're going to participate. I've already visited with Ms. Hanson about doing some reading programs at her elementary
wonderful.
program, because we have the flex in our schedule to allow our students to go over there and work with her students.
That's great.
So there's going to be some things involved. Like I say, life goes on, and it doesn't end just because you come to a different school.
Well, now y'all have two of the premier schools that are opening this August. There's only one that they're building out on 161 that's going to be 4 stories high and all of the exciting things. What do you think about that new career school that they're planning out there? First of all,
I'm
Spears.
tickled to death to see it, because here we are in the 21st century,
Yeah.
and we've got to come on board. We've got the greatest workforce in the world,
Yes.
and we've got to train them. And once they get that learning, they will be productive. And that's what that technology center is all about. That's what we're all about.
Wonderful. Are you going to like the tech center? Are you even in elementary? Are you going to talk about these things?
Certainly, because for the longest we've said, everybody go to college, go to college, go to college. I have 2 children, clear proof. College is not always where they need to be.
Yes.
They need to be prepared.
Other choices.
When they come out of high school, they need to know you're going to have to earn a living. You're going to have a career. And the sooner we can get them, these kids, like Mr. Spears said, they're already working.
Yeah.
So they need to be trained for a profession, a career, not just a job. And I think that's one of the things we'll be able to do with that center, is to get them prepared for that.
I must have gone 1 minute over. I better end this, because that says that I've gone 1 minute and 14 seconds over. Mr. Spears,
Thank you for having me.
It's a delight and a pleasure. Mrs. Nunez,
Thank you.
It's wonderful to have y'all with us for this. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do, and that we document it correctly, even though the times are changing. Thank you for being with us for this interview.